I'll take a short pause and then I'll start the video. G'day, ZiggyD here, and in this video I'm going to be going over the highly requested explanation of my build for my non-hatred generator Rift Torment farming build. So many words to say in that, so many words to say. But basically, after getting a few interesting items, which are pretty easy to get, like in terms of you can actually target getting them, not just random drops, I put together a pretty crazy build for the Demon Hunter that works really well for farming rifts and is very efficient. And we'll jump in and do a little bit of rift farming as I explain things. My party's jumping into a rift there, you can see. But before we jump into it, yeah, there are a few build requirements in terms of gear that we need to go through before you start making this, just so you know straight up whether you want what you want to farm for or what you need before you can start doing this. Now, in order of importance, I would say Reaper's Wraps are the most important for this build. These restore your maximum primary resource, which is Hatred in the case of the Demon Hunter, up to 30% every time you pick up a health globe. And this is pretty crucial for this really funding, not having a Hatred generator, especially having a Hatred spender. Basically, I wanted to ditch the need for using something like Entangling Shot or anything, or Bowls or anything like that, which, you know, are pretty low damage. They're just there so you can generate Hatred. Instead, use something with much better AoE and much better DPS, like Chakram, and this build allows us to do that. So Reaper's Wrap is the first part of funding that. The next item in, I'll say how to find each of these as well. Reaper's Wraps is done through a crafting recipe, which I actually have a YouTube video on, so make sure to check that out in the description below. And those of you guys watching the live stream currently, I do have that video up on my YouTube channel, so you can check that out. The next most important item is the Gloves of Worship. These allow you to have shrine effects for 10 minutes, however currently bugged to give empowered and fleeting shrines for up to an hour. This will eventually be fixed, but the build will still work even when that's nerfed to 10 minutes, however it's just much better now with them being an hour. Now you can farm this by doing Act 2 bounties and opening the Heraldric caches. It drops only from those Heraldric caches, also from Act 4, but you should do Act 2 if you're farming for these specifically. I suggest doing it on doing normal bounties, just so you can do them as quickly as possible and get these gloves. These gloves are really good for pretty much every class and every build, so I recommend going for these as soon as possible. Next up is Pride's Fall. This is the third most important, and you can actually do this build without this, but I think it helps a lot. Pride's Fall, your resource costs are reduced by 30% after not taking damage for 5 seconds. Now, generally, Demon Hunters often won't take damage, so this is up a lot of the time, and when this is up, it means that we can actually spam our skills a lot more. You'll see I use hardly any Hatred. I can actually use a lot of my skills as long as this effect is up here, and it also means I can vault around really fast as well without spending hardly any discipline. So it makes the build, you know, just synergizes really well with the build. Now we also use the Awareness passive in combination. This is something new that I've just started testing out today, which increases your dodge chance for every second after you haven't dodged. So essentially what this does is you get 100% dodge chance, and then when you finally do take a hit, which would normally knock Pride's Fall off, so it would remove that effect, you instead dodge the hit, your dodge chances reset, but you have time to reposition, and you'll keep the helmet effect, so it helps keep that helmet effect up. Again, if you don't have the helmet, you probably want to use something else instead of Awareness. Maybe something like Perfectionist is a good option. Alright, so now with the gearing out of the way, in terms of just general gearing, I think you can do this with around 450 to 500k DPS and around 5 million or 4 to 5 million toughness. I think you could probably pull this build off. So now, let's jump on into the actual skills. I use Chakrams with Twin Chakrams. Now, I'm going for Fire overall because I have increased fire damage, but I actually think Twin Chakrams is better because of the AoE it gives. Whereas Serpentine is a very good skill for this, I think Twin Chakrams is a bit better for the actual AoE that it gives. Cluster Arrow Loaded for Bear is our single target and small group DPS. Basically, we'll use this when we're using other skills, but also whenever we have an excess of Hatred. So, at the moment, I can use my Hatred like this. I can spam a few of these guys, and then just go back to using Chakrams to kind of let our Hatred regen, or to not spend it quite as quickly depending on our current state in our build. Next up, I use Vault with Tumble because it's cheap and very fast, and basically that's just for mobility and positioning, but also while you're tumbling, which is a lot of the time, you're not actually taking any damage, which means you won't lose Pride's Fall. Next up, I use Rain of Vengeance, Dark Cloud, which I only use Dark Cloud because it follows you around, and this is simply just an increase in overall AoE DPS, so essentially while you're using this, you'll notice it follows you around, whereas the other ones don't follow you around. So I think that's one of the best ones to use for that. Next up, I use Vengeance with Seethe, which gives 10 Hatred per second. So essentially what I'll do is I'll pot Vengeance with Seethe, and then I can basically spam Cluster Arrow for a very long time. And if I start to run out, I use Chakrams, and my Hatred will actually regen. I can throw in some more Cluster Arrows, And usually by this point, any elite pack that I'm fighting, that I'm using this Vengeance for, will be dead by this point. Now you'll notice I have Empowered Shrine and Fleeting Shrine. Now the Empowered Shrine helps the cooldowns of these skills a lot as well, so very nice to use. The next thing is the Companion Wolf Companion. This improves our damage by 30% for 10 seconds. So what we do is we pop this just usually before I pop Vengeance, and also just before I pop Rain of Vengeance. So what that does is I use the Wolves, then I use Rain of Vengeance. Rain of Vengeance captures the extra damage, and then I can start unloading with my Cluster Arrow loaded for Bear, and also using Vengeance Seethe if I have that up. In terms of passives, I use Archery, which gives a little bit more hatred, just a bit more damage as well. It's just a nice damage one. Ambush gives you pretty nice damage, the ability to one-shot trash packs with your loaded for Bears. And Blood Vengeance synergizes really well with Reaper's Wraps. Not only does it give you more hatred whenever you pick up a health globe, when I go into this rift in a moment, you'll see my hatred almost fills up as soon as I get a health globe. But it also increases your maximum hatred, which helps Reaper's Wraps become more efficient because it's actually of your primary resource, which is increased through that passive. So really nice stuff there. So the overall sort of strategy is we pop Companion Wolf Companion, pop this guy, pop Seethe, and then we just gotta really keep mobile, move around, and you'll see we just have the ability to just really spam our skills like crazy, and that boosts our effective DPS by a huge amount. Now, a big part of this build is setup, so the first thing you want to do is make sure you get an Empowered and Fleeting Shrine. The easiest way to do this is to go to Act 4, Gardens of Hope first tier. There's a shrine just north of the waypoint. You can grab that, that's guaranteed. There's also often another shrine just to the left before the Rakanoth fight. And then also check Act 1, Southern Highlands, and just to the left of the bridge is another shrine there. Now, if you don't get an Empowered Shrine in those first 3 shrines, I would remake the game and try again until you get an Empowered Shrine. Fleeting Shrine is less important, but it still helps a fair bit because it helps us get those health globes. So, with that in mind, I'm going to teleport to one of my players and jump in combat, just so sort of show you guys how this works in live action, I guess. So let's just pop all my skills here. Looks like we're fighting an elite pack right off the bat. I will try and not take damage where I can, but that's okay at the moment. I've got Vengeance Seethe up. When I have Vengeance Seethe up, I tend to get more into the action a little bit. So there we go. There's that pack down. I'll vault around, sort of move forwards here. You'll see my my Pride's Fall helmet effect will be up a lot of the time. It'll very rarely go down, and if I do happen to take a hit, chances are I'll dodge it because of that increased dodge chance. So basically moving around like this, whenever the Wolf and the Rain of Vengeance comes off cooldown, I'll spam Wolf, then Rain of Vengeance. And the cooldowns are pretty short as well because of the Empowered Shrine. So just kind of balancing a hatred out, keeping out on a hatred. Whenever it's trash mobs, just using my chakrams, or whenever my hatred's full, using some extra loaded for Bears there. Looks like I got a Paragon level. Spamming those again, looks like Seed's back up. We'll go find the next elite pack, and then use Seethe on it as well. There's another pack there. I can probably pop Seethe here and just clear my way through these trash mobs pretty quickly. And you can see just how the it has a real nice tempo to it, man. Like playing a Demon Hunter like this is like perfect, so good, so much fun. So I've been doing some pretty efficient torment farming rifts. If you guys have any questions about the build on YouTube, just let me know in the comments below, and I'll be happy to answer them. It's been a lot of fun. I've been finding a lot of cool legendaries and gear this way. Anyway, that's it for now. I'm Ziggy D, and thanks for watching.